Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I went to bed with damp hair and it's big now.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning, Alyssa.
Good morning.
Hi, Sarah. Kelly, Janine. What are you having for breakfast, Tracy?
Chicken rice lemon soup.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's the last of the stuff that I get from the Amish because the Amish are getting ready to move to Kentucky, and the German Baptist family that's taking over for the Amish farmers will not make the soup or have the raw milk.
Oh, enjoy it.
I was telling my husband, I was like, interesting world. They were like, okay, well, they won't have a website, but they will have cell phones. And I guess my Amish farmers, they don't have cell phones, but I haven't been aware of these things.
Good morning, Janine.
Morning.
Sue.
Right behind me. Sorry. Shouldn't bitch about that. I know it's gray everywhere else.
Oh, good to see everybody this morning.
You too, Shannon.
Yeah. How's everybody feeling about not being at SCAR this week? Staying healthy though. Oh, I see Mark's puppy dogs.
I think that's harder for people who've been there before than those of us that this was going to be our first time. I feel like I don't know.
No, Chris. I maintain that it's hardest for me.
Really? It's awful.
No, but I saw Mark's photo on Facebook this morning of the Patty swims over the years, and I'm like, oh, I'm missing the Patty swim. I wanted to do that. No, it probably is tougher for those who actually know what they're missing.
Exactly. I mean, it sucks, but I know having had to miss things that I've done a lot, it's tough when it's canceled.
When it's something you were looking forward to yeah.
Probably no way around it.
Had expectations that were gauged based on previous,
I think there's events I'm going to miss more than SCAR, having never been there, because I don't know what I'm missing.
Exactly.
I'm heartbroken about bridges this year. That's my.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. I think we're all pretty heartbroken. Just heartbroken this year. Give a couple minutes for if anyone else joins, or if someone. Susie's here. Hi, Susie.
Morning.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm with you, Sue.
Just stumbled right out of bed straight to here.
Yeah, but I like to make sure that I got the full, just woke up look, so you know that I'm not working. I had to print myself for you guys. It's real, practice. Just show up.
Never been.
Makes sense. All right. One more minute, and then we'll go find our breakout rooms.
There you go. Let's see. Can you see?
You're killing me.
Hey.
Gorgeous. That feels good.
Yeah.
Right.
A blue mind right there.
Still here, still waiting for everyone.
So I've never been to SCAR. What am I missing?
Lots of swimming.
2014.
Hi, Mark.
Morning.
Riding in the back of the U-Haul was one of the mind-boggling to the Roosevelt Lake on the last day. That was what we were like, really? We're riding in the back of a U-Haul with the kayaks? That was the main thing I remember. Okay, missing about Scar.
Today would have been the Patty swim, which is the most fun day.
I don't
The pre-swim.
Okay.
Yeah, it's when the swimmers really kind of get to know each other. And then after that, it just kind of is you're on a track, right? You know, it's like boom, boom, boom. Banquet, Saguaro, Canyon, Apache, Roosevelt, Globe. So the Patty swim.
Lots of waiting.
Oh God, yeah. As Kent said, Scar is not for the impatient.
All right, looks like we've got the quorum. We're gonna go ahead and do our breakout rooms. We'll do the 4 people today. That'll be, and the topic I was thinking of to try to keep it positive is what's something that's going well for you right now? Think on that one, and I'll see you back at about 20 till, maybe a minute after. Fun.
And just so you guys know, I get accused of this being a fake backdrop. That's my shoulder. That's where I'm swimming. So
you live in social isolation.
I do. It's Montana and social distancing are redundant terms.
What's your water temp?
It fluctuates between 47 and 52, kind of depending on what the wind is doing. If it can be a still day, then it'll get up to about 52 in the afternoon. But if it's windy, then it's pretty deep lake, so it mixes and stays around 47. And that'll be the case probably through the month of May, and then finally in June, it'll start to kind of inch up.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, Elaine, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna start by telling us a little bit about yourself. Purposefully vague.
Purposefully vague. Okay, so my name's Elaine. I live in Waltham, Massachusetts. I grew up in New Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. I am a product of the fine South Jersey Summer Swimming League ecosystem. I started doing club swimming in middle school because I wanted to swim year-round instead of just in the summers. I swam in high school, and I walked onto the team at Georgetown as a sophomore. I had spent freshman year rowing crew and being pretty miserable on top of the water, so I decided to try my luck getting back into it. Best decision I ever made. Yeah, so I took about 5 years off after I finished college. I went into the Peace Corps in Ukraine. I came home to no money, no job, no place to live. That's how I ended up here in Massachusetts. My brother had taken a job with MIT and had a spare bedroom in Framingham, so I moved in with him. I spent about 2 years there, and then moved to Waltham, and I've not quite been able to break the bonds of Waltham. It was as far east as I could afford to live by myself, so that's how I ended up here. Somewhere through all of that, like when I first moved up to Massachusetts, I started working at the pool that my brother swam at, and that's how I kind of got integrated with an open water group here. There was I would show up in my Georgetown swimming and diving stuff, but one of the, I'd say she's pretty much the matriarch of pretty much all of Metro West swimming. She would come up to me and be like, "You wear this stuff, but we never see you swimming. Are you sure you're a swimmer?" And so she sort of browbeat me into it, and I ended up and that's when Greg O'Connor, who suggested that, he said to me he needed somebody to train with for the 8 Mile Boston Lite swim in 2005 or 6, I guess that was. And he said, I know you used to be an ocean lifeguard, so I don't know, you're probably not afraid of the water. You want to do it with me? And again, that was probably the second best decision I ever made, although I blame him for everything that's ever gone wrong since. So, so that's it in a nutshell. Just been swimming longer and longer since that first Boston Lite in 2006. And I now direct a Boston Lite. Greg and I took it over in 2009, and he retired from active duty last year. Yeah, so that's the nutshell.
Awesome. Where's your favorite place to swim?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I guess probably on a consistent basis, my favorite place is probably Lake Cochituate in Wayland. That, as I mentioned, that matriarch of the group, her name's Pam O'Neill. She has this beautiful house on the lake that she opens up to her swimmer friends in the summer. So we have private access to the water, access to showers, outdoor showers at the end of the swim. And it's about, to do a loop around the lake takes me about an hour and a half. So it's not huge, but it's big enough that, I can feel pretty comfortable doing loops and stuff. In fact, I did a 24-hour training swim there on the summer solstice a few years back when I was training for Lake Pend Oreille. So you can literally swim in that lake at any time. And it's just a really tranquil, beautiful place. There's boats and stuff, so you have to be careful, but I don't know, that's my stomping ground. That's my home base.
Cool. Why do you swim marathons?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't really know. Some of it is falling in with the wrong crowd, making friends with people like Greg. And I think there's more to it, though, than just that for me. It's I like the challenge. And I think some of it was perfect timing. Greg asked me about that just as I was finishing grad school. So I was like ready for the next thing. And I think for me, it's just a really, it's a way to celebrate being alive, and see the world. And I mean, I've seen places I never would have had the opportunity or a reason to visit otherwise, like Northern Idaho. Why the hell would I go to Northern Idaho? And now it's like one of my most favorite places on earth with some of my most favorite people. So, it's really kind of expanded my horizons. And so it's a good excuse to travel. But the physical also, it's a moving meditation for me. And so it's very good for my mental health.
Good. How do you describe the feeling of completing a marathon swim?
There's usually a sense of relief. Often there's some exhaustion and maybe a little bit of pain. Usually a lot of gratitude that I had the ability to do it and that I had the support to make it happen, because these things don't happen in a vacuum. There's usually a whole bunch of people who are probably at least as tired as I am, if not more so, because they've been up all night and they've been, having to deal with the boat and the seasickness and stuff. So, it's a real mixed bag of emotions. I think for me, there's more power in the doing than in the completion. But yeah, it does feel good to finish.
What's your favorite event that you participated in?
Okay, it just got all. Yeah, it sounds like somebody just started like a rock tumbler or something right next to your speaker. So, sorry. What was the question?
What's your favorite all-time event?
Yeah, see, that's hard because they're all like my children, like it's hard to pick. I mean, I don't have children, but I have cats, and, you like them in different ways. And, I think it's hard to single out a particular one. I think if I had to choose one, I would probably say Lake Pend Oreille. Because it was something I really wasn't sure I could do. It was 32.3 miles, which for me was a step up in distance. It hadn't been done before, so I wasn't even certain whether it could be done. I think on that swim, I just had such incredible support from the local community. And I really felt like I connected with people who weren't part of marathon swimming. They were just enthusiasts of the lake and the local region and stuff. And, you know, it was just a really, really special experience to be part of that and to kind of see, you know, again, like I said, a part of the world that, you know, I would have never dreamed to go to Northern Idaho for any other reason other than to see this big lake. And now it's like my lake, you know, and that was a really cool experience.
I remember watching, they brought, I remember following that one. That was really, really neat to see, I guess, maybe because I was in Idaho for so long. I jumped right on that.
Yeah, there was we had a videographer on board. I'm going to try and put these back in because I can hear you. Okay, good. It's not screeching at me anymore. I don't know if it was me or what, but you know, the wonders of Zoom. Yeah, there was a videographer who came along with us, and he put together a little 5-minute film about the swim, and that's like a really cherished artifact that I have from that swim. You know, it's I think he did a beautiful job capturing what it was about and why we were out there.
Elaine, how did you pick Pend Oreille?
So, okay. So professionally, I'm a writer. And in 2011, I was working on a story for Swimmer magazine. That's the USFS publication, about vegan athletes. And one of the sources that I ended up interviewing was a man named Eric Ridgway, who lives in Sandpoint, Idaho. He's head of I'm not sure that they even still exist or not, but he was involved with a group called the Sandpoint Vegetarians. And he also was the founder and organizer of the Longbridge Swim, which is one of the biggest open water swims in the country. They get about 700 people or so every year. It's a 1.7 mile swim across the very top of the lake. They have like this big old railroad bridge that goes across the top part of the lake. And so for this event, they get in at one side and swim the length of the Longbridge swim at the Long Bridge, the other side of the lake. And so he ended up as one of my contacts for the story, and he's a counselor by trade. And he's incredibly friendly and super curious about other people. So after I interviewed him, he turned the tables and started interviewing me. And he wanted to know what I was about and, you know, if I swam. And so it emerges piece by piece that I do marathon swimming. And he says, I've got a lake for you. I was like, hey then, okay. So it took 3 years to get it to work into the schedule and get all the logistics planned and stuff. But it was Eric brought me out there. It was all Eric's fault. And he was great. He was on board for the swim itself and just an incredibly positive, supportive individual. I mean, Eric is something else.
Wonderful. What's the swim that you're most proud of?
Probably Loch Ness. That one was really, really hard. That one took me right to the edge of my abilities. The water was between 51 and 54 degrees the entire way, 22 plus miles. We had very little heat from the air. I guess the air temperature was probably in the 60s. Very little sun that day. So it was bitterly cold. And I basically swam for my life for 13 and a half hours. It took me about 2 years to recover, honestly. Wow. It really, like I always explain it as, you know, this little life bars on video games, you know, how you get like the little battery pack at the top and it ticks down as you run through the little video game environment. Yeah, I was down to like just a little bit of life bar left at the end of that. I was spent. I left it all out there. But, you know, I hung in there and I got it done, and it was a beautiful swim. We had an amazing trip. I was there with Sarah Thomas and Craig Lenning. The three of us all swam on the same day. And miracle of miracles, all three of us got across, and we went on the first day of the tide. So as it turned out, this incredibly stressful thing that we had all signed up for, and we knew each other, but not super well at that point. So there was like a little bit of like hesitation, like, well, what happens if, you know, one of us doesn't make it? You know, not that, and that was one of the beautiful things that happened, was that each one of us had doubts about ourselves, but had zero doubts about the other two. I mean, like Sarah and Craig, of course they're going to finish. Like, hello, I'm the JV kid trying to swim up here. Like this. I'm the weak link, you know, and that was apparently they were doing the exact same calculation in their heads, which was like a really beautiful, genuine thing. But yeah, so we were all really stressed, and we're all in this shared house, and there's just a lot of tension and stuff. And so we get the call on the first day of the window, and we all make it, you know, we all hung in there, we all made it. And then afterwards we had this great like 10-day vacation, you know, and it was just, we explored stuff, we went visiting, we just had a ball, you know, and it was so much fun, really stressful, really exhausting, but a lot of fun.
Awesome. Very cool. Do you consider, I want to segue because of that. What motivates you to keep going in those really tough times when you're really freezing cold?
Yeah, I think like in Loch Ness, there was definitely an element of peer pressure. You know, well, Sarah's still swimming. She's still swimming. I need to keep swimming. You know, and I think a lot of it is just that, you know, I trust my training, and that it's the whole point is it's supposed to be hard. You know, we wouldn't do it if it weren't hard, and if there wasn't, you know, a big risk of failure. Like, what would be the point? You know, if you were guaranteed to finish, why would it matter? So I think some of that is just, okay, well, let's just see. Let's just keep going. And my husband crews for me, and he's always a huge support. You know, when I start to get a little whiny, he can sense it. And he'll top up my electrolytes and stuff, because sometimes that's all it is. You know, and when I start to get a little discouraged, it's like, well, just swim to the next feed. Just swim to the next feed. And he reminds me of that. And, you know, you do those a few times, and then all of a sudden you've got another 5 hours under your belt. So, you know, it's, I think a lot of it is just trying to stay in the moment and not get ahead of ourselves.
Well said. How do you adapt to changing conditions?
Yeah, you know, you mean like wind and stuff and chop? Yeah, because given the current situation, that question can be interpreted a couple different ways.
On purpose.
I figured. Yeah. Yeah, I think like if we're talking about conditions, a lot of it is just keep your head down. Again, don't look ahead, just keep your head down and just feed to feed. Currently, it's like, well, you've got to adapt to survive. So now I row on my rowing machine. I'm very grateful I have that. I am happy to have those stretch cords that I've been working out on. My husband got me a boxing bag thing for Christmas that we finally got set up. And I'll tell you, that sure came in handy yesterday when I got news that a friend of mine is really not doing well and probably going to die in the next 48 hours. So yeah, I went down and beat the shit out of the bag for a few days, or for a few minutes. And that definitely, that helped. So you adapt, you find some other coping strategy, and find something to keep you busy.
Yep, well put. How about process or outcome person?
Definitely process. I've never been, the meets were never my thing. You know, when I was a kid, I was the workout swimmer. I actually never have liked meets. You know, and the setting big goals to do big swims and stuff, it's all just an excuse to get me to train. You know, it's just giving me that reason to get there every day and something to focus on. So, yeah, definitely process.
good thing to know about yourself, right?
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, the outcomes are nice, but it all depends on whether or not you've done the process properly.
Right.
You know, it always comes back to that. Like, have I prepared enough? You know, in the many different dimensions of that, in that meaning. So, yeah, it's process is everything.
Yeah. What about what's the worst part of being kind of in lockdown, quarantine, whatever it's called in your state?
I think the thing that I'm finding most distressing is that we are now a hotspot. That's been declared in the last couple of days, and it's really been kind of breathtaking to see. We've been having a stay-at-home advisory. That they haven't used the word order, and I don't know why. And it seems like there's a lot of room for interpretation in that word choice. And I've seen some things here that really upset me in terms of people not social distancing. And I think some of it too is compounded by the fact that my husband works at Trader Joe's. And so he's on the front lines, and I'm hearing stories about what people are doing and saying in that environment. And it's really kind of breathtaking that how people are not taking this thing seriously. You know, and this sucks. It absolutely sucks. I should be at SCAR right now for the first time. It's been on my list for years, and I finally figured out how to fit it into my schedule for this year. And I was super excited about it, and it got canceled, and that blows. We had to cancel the Jim Doty Swim, which is a 1-mile swim that I organize here in Boston with some other swimmers here locally. That honors the legacy of Jim Doty, who was a legendary marathon swimmer in the 70s. We had to that's in June, so we had to cancel that. We also canceled the Boston Lite Swim, which is the longest running water swim in the country. Been running since 1907, and we've had to cancel it for the second year in a row because last year we got canceled because of fog. And that really sucks. But all of those things suck a whole lot less than any of my friends or swimmers that we might bring here dying of this fucking disease. I mean, just stay home, people. Just fuck home. You have the easiest job in all of this. You know, I think the hardest thing is that I get really distressed by people not listening to science and not paying attention to the rules. So it's not about me. It's not about us as individuals. It's about us as a collective. And the thing that we can do is stop coughing on each other.
Yeah. So what motivates you to keep going?
Yeah. You know, I think the drive and the need to continue making a living, you know, as an independent contractor. You know, I run my own business, and right now business is good because a lot of people need this content, but I have no idea what is coming up down the pike once we get out of the worst of this. Some of my clients have sort of suggested that they are losing ad revenue and might not have the same budgets that they've had in the recent past. So I don't know what's going to happen. So right now, every day is just get up, meet my deadlines, try and find new business. You know, love my kitties really hard. I got a kitty on a bench next to me. Take care of my husband as best I can when he comes home from work. And just, you know, when I can fit in the workout downstairs, just, you know, beat the shit out of the punching bag.
Make me want a punching bag.
Yeah, it's come in handy. I have to be careful though, because I got a little carried away yesterday, and I was like, I'm gonna hurt myself. I have to stop now. So kitty, Sue's got a kitty. That looks like my kitty. It's Popsy. Hey, Popsy. So yeah, so that's kind of my take on the situation currently, and I think some of that's informed because by the work that I'm doing. You know, I'm talking to a lot of epidemiologists and virologists, and you know, frontline emergency room doctors and so forth, and pulmonologists, and without exception, they are painting a really dire picture, and they are all saying, you know, the message that we want to get out is just stay home. We've just got to slow the transmission of this thing until there's a vaccine. And and it's distressing. I just filed the other day a story for USMS about, when we're going to swim again. And it might be a while. I'm the bearer of bad news there. It might be a while.
Yeah.
The 21 season might not happen either. It's hard to say. It's really going to depend on, how quickly the researchers get the vaccine out and how good we get with testing and contact tracing and so forth. So there's a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah, that was a good article. I read that last night.
Oh,
Thanks for putting it together, though. It's so helpful to have those pieces coming out.
Yeah.
Let's see, what other question was I going to ask? Aspiring marathon swimmers, what would be your little piece of advice to them?
Befriend a veteran marathon swimmer. Find somebody who will sort of take you under their wing and sort of, help you through some of the initial questions and so forth. I think that's gotten a whole lot easier in the last 10 years with the internet and the forum. And I swam the channel in 2009, and that was back when the only source of information on the web about the channel was that ancient Yahoo chat group that, I don't know, it was mostly British swimmers, and they would all berate each other for anytime somebody asked a stupid question. And oh God, it was funny. It was so, it's funny how I guess the point of that anecdote is that a lot has changed in the last 10 years and the information is a lot more accessible. So to do the research, get out there, connect with other people, because there's this wealth of information just locked up inside of every other marathon swimmer who's done the swim that you want to do. So just ask, buy me a beer and I will talk to you all night,
You've been extremely helpful to me. I remember after I finished the first year I did the Nymphomagog 10-mile swim, which was probably 2011 or 12 or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. Like, what can I do next? And I stumbled on your blog just somehow. Uh-huh. and then it was just like, it opened my eyes to this whole world out there. And anyway, it was, but you're right. Yeah, it's a good way to do it. Like find someone who can take you under their wing and help you. You've been very helpful to me. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
What about, who else should we have as a future guest?
Has Mark Spratt been a guest yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you just popped up. You giggled and you popped up big on my screen. So
yeah, last week, I think.
Okay, I'll have to go back and watch that. I missed some of the first ones because I was sleeping. Sorry. Let's see. Who else would I suggest? I don't know. I'm gonna feed Greg to the wolves here. He's a good one to talk to. He's kind of gone about things a little bit differently in that he didn't go straight for like the channel stuff. He kind of put that off as too expensive and too risky, and so he decided he wasn't going to do it. But then now he is going to do it. So he's got a lot to offer too, especially from like the event organizing side of things. So he might be a good suggestion. Yeah, and also from like the race organizing perspective, Blake Ogle might be a good option too. He's down in Tennessee. He's funny. You'll be in for a fun chat with him for sure.
You need to ask him. I tried to get him to come and listen, but he's fanboying you, Elaine, so he'll come if you tell him to.
Yeah. Well, I told him I was going to be on this today, and he said he was going to come, but I don't see him. Must be too early. Yeah, but he's a lot of fun. He's going to be a good one to chat to. So.
All right. That was Greg O'Connor.
Yeah, Greg O'Connor. Yeah, I can get you his contact info.
Awesome. I have one last question. What's your superpower?
Oh, my superpower. Oh goodness. I know you sent the questions to me.
I didn't send that one.
Okay. All right. So I was like, I don't remember that one. My superpower. Oh gosh. I think it's I think my superpower might be taking complex information and distilling it down for people who might not have the background to understand it.
You're also a very prolific writer.
Very prolific.
I love it.
Prolific. Yes, I need a nap.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for chatting with us today, Elaine.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you so much.
We're a little over time, so I won't open the floor, but we'll talk to you guys again on Thursday.
Very good. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.